Today I'm telling a story from the book of Glasgow Anecdotes by D. MacLeod Malloch. And this story concerns Lady Charlotte Campbell and what happened when she wore the new style of Parisian fashion in Glasgow for the very first time. By the way, the story comes from 1796. That's the year, by the way, not the time. No, there wouldn't be a time 1796, would there? No, but it's a year. One day I was passing the foot of Candleriggs when my attention was arrested by seeing crowds of people surrounding two ladies and a young gentleman apparently about 17 years of age, who were walking eastwards towards the cross along the Trongate. Like others, I ran forward to see what was going on, and I then beheld Lady Charlotte dressed in the height of the then Parisian fashion, with petticoats almost as short as a Highlandman's philibeg, which dress exhibited the pretty little ankle and the beautiful contour of the calf of the leg to admiration. In an instant the word passed from mouth to mouth of the crowd, "It's Lady Charlotte Campbell! It's Lady Charlotte Campbell!" And then might have been seen a scampering of all classes from the four streets of the Trongate, King Street, Candleriggs and Gallowgate to get a sight of the celebrated beauty. The crowd now became so dense that her ladyship and party could no longer proceed along the Trongate, every one of the mob eagerly pressing in upon them to have a sight of Lady Charlotte, who then became greatly alarmed lest she be attacked by the mob, which was constantly increasing in numbers. Her ladyship and party, having in vain attempted to proceed along the Trongate, at last in a state of great alarm and terror, rushed into a shop nearly opposite the Tron Church and begged the shopman instantly to shut his door till the mob dispersed, which he not only did, but also pulled up the shutters of his shop window. The mob, however, so far from dispersing, became greater and greater, for the word passed from all sides among the crowd that Lady Charlotte Campbell, dressed half nearly naked, had taken refuge in the shop, and so everyone remained on the spot, expecting to get a peep of the half-naked beauty on her exit from said shop. The shopman now became alarmed for the safety of his goods as well as for the safety of his guests, and therefore, jumping out by the window of his back shop, he ran at full speed to the guardhouse, then situated in Candleriggs, opposite Campbell and Company's warehouse, and procured the attendance of a sergeant and a party of soldiers, who took their station at the shop door, which was still kept closely shut. In the meantime, Lady Charlotte, being at her wits' end how she was to escape the attack of the rabble, who were not disposed to disperse, resolved to follow the example of the shopman, and accordingly jumped out of the back window of the shop, which brought her into a through-going close leading into the Candleriggs. And, without the crowd having observed her escape, she entered an adjoining house, where, upon explaining her situation, a carriage was sent for, which safely conveyed her ladyship to the Black Bull Inn. As soon as the shopman had seen Lady Charlotte fairly out of danger, he communicated the fact to the military, who were guarding the shop door, and then, under the protection of the soldiers, he threw open the doors to allow the remaining lady and gentleman to pass on their way. The crowd was sadly disappointed at seeing only the lady and young gentleman coming forth, as the lady was dressed in the usual fashion of the day, like others, and not at all remarkable. I must say, however, that the mob behaved to them with great politeness, for the instant that they made their appearance from the shop, the crowd voluntarily separated and left a clear lane upon the pavement, so as to allow the lady and young gentleman to walk westward without molestation. Aren't you glad you don't have to go through that these days every time there's a new fashion in town? Could you imagine? Anyway, next week's story will be about... I don't know yet. I haven't decided. You just have to tune in and find out. And don't forget to follow us on social media. That's Britannia Panopticon. Signing off for today.